So this is my finished line drawing. All right. I can still see a couple places that have pencil, and you want to go back and make sure that there's no pencil showing. You want to make sure that your lines are nice and neat and not sloppy looking. This is the end result we're going for, and this is after we do the etching, which I'll explain that part later. But to get to that point, you've got to color. To get to this point, you've got to color very, 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 very thick with your crayon. Anywhere you see crayon on here, I did a very thick application. Even the white is completely covered with thick white crayon. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how I blend colors, and it's very important that you listen to how I blend colors, because if you do it the wrong way, it's not going to come out the way you think it should look, okay? So to do this technique, what you want to do is you're going to put down your darkest shades first, and then put a thick application of the lightest color on top of it. So if you look at this, I'm going for this polka dot look right here in this white shirt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and shade where I think it should be darker. And I like to use blue and brown together, and I'm barely touching the paper. Okay, where I want it to be darker. And I can even, I'm going to go ahead and just shade right over where the polka dots are too. And I think it might have a little bit of a shadow right here where the arm meets the back, and where this little wrinkle is. And I might even put a little contour around this area too. And there's probably going to be a cast shadow from where the hat overlaps her shoulders. So that is where I am on that. Now I'm going to take a little bit of blue and go over that. Now, I'm not too worried about coloring over my polka dots, because I know my polka dots are going to be blue. So if they were a different color, you might not want to do the blue on top of it, but you can put the brown there, because I use blue and brown to shade a lot. All right, now you can see where I got a little bit of shading on it. You could even put just a tiny bit of black, but I'm not bearing down at all, okay? I'm barely touching the paper when I'm doing the shading. Then I'm going to take my white, and I want to stay away from my polka dots on this part. I'm going to do a very, very thick application of white everywhere that I want that shirt to be white. You want to color inside the lines on this. You don't want this to go inside your polka dots. Color over the shading as well. Very important that you go over the shading. Anywhere you don't have a very thick application of crayon, it is going to stay black, and we don't want that. And when I say stay black, we're going to end up painting black over this, and you don't want the black to stay black in large sections. So you have really, really got to make sure anywhere there is white paper that it's covered with a very thick application of crayon. Now you can't really see it over the camera, but you can see on the paper where I have crayon and not in person, okay? Now, what I want to do is, since I know that my polka dots are going to be blue, I'm going to go ahead and put a very thick application of blue. I'm going to move this out of the way. You don't want any of the white paper shining through. Now, chances are you're going to break your crayons. That's okay. You saw how I was using a broken crayon to do the white. Broken crayons still work. I do like to use the side of my point because it helps it kind of stay more sharpened than using the top of the point. Okay, so now just to be safe, now you can take the white crayon and go over all of it just to make sure all of that white is covered. Nope, I missed a polka dot. So what's going to happen is we're going to paint it black, and then you're going to use an etching tool to, this is called the etching tool. You're going to scrape off the black. And when you do that, wherever you shaded, it's going to scrape off that white and put whatever the bottom layer of crayon color is, that's what's going to shine through. And this is what's you're going to use to scratch it off. But you'll understand that as we go further. But that's why you've got to cover it. Now I'm going to show you how, like I did the hat. What I'll do is go through and put shading in there first. I'm going to use blue for my shading on this. Just a little bit, wherever I think there should be a cast shadow. And then I'm going to take some brown and go over wherever that shading was. I don't do it dark. It's a very, very light shading of it. Then I'm going to take a little bit of yellow orange and go over that as well. I'm going to go over it very lightly over the whole hat. Now, that's not bright and bold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my yellow and blend it all together and do a very thick application of that. Notice how I'm holding my pencil, not my pencil, my crayon, and so that I'm using the side of the point so that it can help keep it sharpened. So I'm going to just keep coloring, and I want you to notice how I'm applying the color, and I'll speed it up in just a second.